Ladies and gentlemen, oh yeah, he's back in front of the window of whatever the shit this is, and it fits in with what we were just talking about with TYT because they have gone full Jimmy Dore these days. And look who's back on Russell's show, Jimmy Dore. It's all bullshit. All right, again, don't take any of this shit seriously. These guys are creeps. Let's here we go.
Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, Glenn Greenwald, Julian Assange. Why is the mainstream so obsessed with controlling dissenting voices?
Rogan has a $200 million contract on Spotify.
Why is it so obsessed with discrediting them?
Well, no. Why are they so obsessed with being edgy or pushing their thought into areas where they can't discuss what they're talking about without venturing into offensive, racist, bigoted, or stupid or dangerous language? I think would be part of it. This is Rusty Trombone, in case you don't know. He was in Shaving Sarah Marshall, and Derp on the Nile.
The mainstream so fearful of ordinary people coming together.
They're not. How the fuck is Glenn Greenwald, who lives in Brazil with his partner, who shot porn under a German Nazi? His name was Damenherren. He was a dom who wanted to be called Damenherren, which is German for men and women, and he would shoot Nazi-themed porn. I mean, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum, but he lives in Brazil. He left the country a long fucking time ago. The Intercept, the paper he was on, was seeded by a billionaire. He's not pro-democracy or anti-war or pro-freedom or pro-liberty and any of this bullshit. He's just strictly anti-American. It's a single note hit. Otherwise, or maybe occasionally Brazil, because he can bitch about it while he's there to give himself street cred. He doesn't give a fuck about what's happening in Russia to the Ukrainians or to anybody else, or what's going to happen to the Lithuanians or the Latvians or the Polish if these fuckers have their way. He certainly doesn't give a shit about the Chechens or the Georgians. It's all both ciderous bullshit.
In unison.
And this is, by the way, thank God that Russell is having on people that has a difference of opinion from him so that they can have these conversations that they can't have anywhere else, and service people who are speaking out so that he can actually have a conversation with people and that the mainstream media doesn't want you to have. Meanwhile, Jimmy's on fucking Tucker Carlson all the time, and Russell wants to be on Tucker Carlson. And by the way, Jimmy, I'm no fan. I think you're a fucking asshole. But he's stealing your audience. That's all this is about. Part of Russell Brand's business model is poaching the audience of the people he has on as guests. That's 100% why he's there.
Hello there, you 5.6 million awakening wonders.
Bots.
Just thank you for joining me on this voyage. I'm traveling around the United Kingdom at the moment. What a beautiful nation it is. But
yeah, I can see it out the window. It's great lighting. Good choice. Yeah.
Your country is
it snowing?
Glorious too. And it deserves to be run by someone beautiful like you.
So sweet. Well, I happen to think Joe Biden's a lovely man. So I feel all right. And eventually I will. Now, I understand you live in a monarchy, so that will never fucking happen. So
in community with your brothers and sisters, your aunts and uncles, your grandfathers, your grandmothers, your ancestors' spirits can rise.
What the fuck? Maybe he's got a big chunk of people in Japan.
Again, in a meaningful and democratic way.
A meaningful and democratic way. The first thing you need to do is have on an anti-voting activist.
Thing you bloody well do is subscribe to this channel, give this video a
thumbs
up, and
nope.
Ordinary people from different classes and cultures coming together to confront real power.
The fuck? This asshole's worth $81 million. His house cost 10. Jimmy's house cost 1.4 in Los Angeles. In the midst of a homelessness problem, Jimmy the Marxist Dore bought a $1.4 million house in the Hollywood Hills.
refusing
Tell me about the class rising up. Oh, the
to
class.
be distracted by the narratives of fracture that we're
The narratives of fracture. What the fuck? You're about to have Jimmy Dore on, fucko. This ain't gonna be kumbaya in unison.
continually bombarded with. Now, 60% of you subscribe. I'd love the rest of you to subscribe right now. It really
No.
helps me turn on the
Bullshit.
notification bell.
Look at this. Jimmy Dore, Russell Brand, free speech, it says. As the hashtags on this, because he puts these hashtags on there.
If you can, and sign up to our mailing list.
No. Why? So we can be tracked? What kind of big tech bullshit is this?
Be a part of our community. We do wonderful online events, Zoom calls, plus fantastic live, real events in physical, real space. You can participate with us in all of those things and become a real member of this community.
Bullshit.
I know that you need it on some level.
No, they don't.
I know that you've been suffering.
Yes, and you're here to make them suffer more and then milk their anxiety like the fucking Skeksis in the Dark Crystal. Every time I see this motherfucker, all I can think of is Chamberlain in the Dark Crystal just, make peace.
I know you want the truth. I know that your whole life you've suspected there's something wrong with this system and you...
Shut the fuck up. Like this, like cult horseshit.
We can do something about it.
Oh,
It's
whatever.
been available from Luminary. And Jim, you won't associate that with the left, but many professions that used to be considered ordinary community professions, like journalism, law enforcement, have either been taken over by people from elite academic backgrounds.
Elite academic background. Yeah, cops are totally run by college professors.
Or somehow been turned into numb drone professions where ordinary people are turned against one another. In
I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about.
this conversation, Jimmy Dore talks about the importance of people from different political backgrounds coming.
Yes, the importance of horseshoe theory, of right-wing psychopaths and left-wing, like far-left bastards who want to destroy the system, at least finding common ground in anarchist bullshit.
Together. He talks
Who cares who will be harmed in this process? The important thing is that we take over.
about how we've been tricked, how Biden has broken promises to ordinary people from the start of his administration, how dissenting voices
What? Hold on.
and has broken promises to ordinary people from the start of his administration.
How? Like what, fucko? The rescue package, the infrastructure bill, unemployment, getting people vaccinated, getting us out of Afghanistan, the gun bill, infrastructure, what part? Reshoring more factories than at any point in our nation's history? Reuniting children with their families that were separated at the border by the Trump administration? Reinstating the rules of engagement for military forces in foreign lands that were put in place during the Obama administration to cut down on collateral civilian deaths as much as possible? Which fucking part? Funding police to the tune of $42 million so that communities can afford to fire bad cops and hire good ones. They can train all their forces and reinforce them with enough gear so they don't find themselves in a situation where they have to react like they are sometimes.
How dissenting voices like Rogan, Assange, Alex Jones, people...
Alex Jones. Yeah. May I? 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Alex Jones.
We are burning. We are being defeated. We are being sunk. And those Republican senators that act like they're on our side sit up there in their cocoon and are just now starting to talk about the Great Reset and Build Back Better and the New World Order, while our Border Patrol and our sheriffs and our police go SOS, red alert, emergency. Thousands of homicides a month on the border alone. Total bedlam.
On the other side of the border, but...
Decapitated heads, dead bodies hanging everywhere.
Everywhere.
Raped children, murdered babies. 18-wheelers full of dead people.
Right, because apparently they've been led to believe by Republicans that the border is wide open, and when they get up here and it ain't, they use really desperate measures to try and get across the border, because they came all this way because fuckheads like you told them the border was wide open and that Biden had said everybody come, even though Mayorkas, everybody in the State Department had literally said in English and in Spanish and in Portuguese, the border is closed, don't come. Even Kamala Harris went to Latin America and said the border is closed, don't come. But you fuckers, every day, the border's wide open, the border's wide open, you can come in, they're letting anybody in. And then these people get up here and then believing that bullshit. And when they get here, they try and they get turned back, and they try and they get turned back, and they try and they get turned back. And then they try some desperate measure like hiding in a fucking 18-wheeler and they cook to death. It's your fucking fault, you shellfish allergy Wolverine.
Satanic leftist activating and going out and committing mass shootings. The army of the dead rising.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
And this is just the fuse.
Well, apparently it's a fuse that's been burning since, when did you go on the air? Fucking 1996.
You think all this craziness is scary and is crazy and is wild? Brothers and sisters, that fire you see and that explosion, we're zoomed in on the fuse. We cover the fuse burning. We cover
any day now. Longest fucking fuse in history. There's going to be a civil war. The end's coming. FEMA camps. They're going to put conservatives in little plastic Tupperware tubs and bury them in the desert outside El Paso. And Jade Helm was just a plan, and fucking lizard people. And yeah.
Symptoms, not the disease. That fuse is going into a giant
bum, 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 bum. Mission imbecile.
Bomb. And as soon as it goes,
that was kind of an. I was expecting a better explosion. It's gonna go boom. It's more of like kind of a Minecraft explosion. No offense.
Total financial collapse.
Total financial collapse. Destruction of everything you know. Government in ruins. The purge. Lizard people all over the world. Gas bombs going off. Shit. Shut the fuck up.
Nuclear war.
Okay, but sorry, remind me again how the mainstream media wants to marginalize voices like Alex Jones. The fuck out of here.
That you might agree with or might not agree with.
All of the people he's mentioned, I guess, except Assange, who would have been out of jail by now if he'd have faced charges, instead of hiding in the Ecuadorian embassy from rape charges from Sweden.
I don't bloody well care. It doesn't matter to me with what you think. We're all going to disagree about stuff. But
yeah, but the important thing is that I keep having people on like Jimmy Dore and Alex Jones and all these people, and never have anyone that actually pushes back against my fucking bullshit. Basically, I just want people to clap me on the back or watch me smoke weed while they ramble about a right-wing conspiracy.
But what we have to get to is a point of honest and open communication.
And you're on the same side of these people, dumb fuck. What honest conversation is happening?
That's what I think. That's what Jimmy Dore thinks.
Yeah, that's what Jimmy Dore thinks. We need to get honest communication. Let's hear it. Let's get a slice of that. Yeah, I'm guessing this is from his podcast where he has guests on and he blows them, I guess.
Watch this conversation now.
Yeah,
and stay to the very end because it's fantastic.
No, this is the old stay to the very end trick that they teach you in YouTube school.
And I want you to comment below and tell me.
Yeah, I want you to write shit in. No, fuck off.
Right, and where you think we can improve. Stay to the end.
Stay till the end. No, I'm going to stop just short of the end just because you're trying to make me. Also, are you both high and haven't slept?
going on, Jimmy? What's going on?
What's going on, Jimmy? Tell me the fucking truth, man.
What's
I'm high as fuck, man.
happening with all of these new categories and condemnations? What do you think?
What's happening with all these new categories and condemnations?
Happening.
It's the same old thing. If people on the left and the right realize that they have a common enemy,
Yes, who's the Jews, I suppose.
if they realize that they have shared interests and they
Yeah, I mean, we're basically the same. I mean, sure, the entirety of the Republican Party wants to take away a woman's right to choose and gay marriage and outlaw gay relationships even, and let gay people be fired for just being gay, or stop gay adoptions, all that kind of stuff. Also, they want to sunset Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. But I have so much in common with them.
come together to work for those interests, that
Like what? Name one.
scares the hell out of the establishment.
The establishment is scared. What establishment would that be? MAGA?
So they have to stop that with all by any means necessary.
By any means necessary. Yeah, strafe bombing. That's what we're doing. It's the whole by any means necessary, forcing people to vote at gunpoint.
You're seeing what they're doing to Joe Rogan.
You're seeing what they're doing. What are they doing to Joe Rogan? Did anything recently happen to Joe Rogan that I should know about other than he's still got his multi-million-dollar contract?
It happened to me personally.
Oh, before or after you bought your $1.4 million house in the Hollywood Hills?
Look what
Oh, after, obviously.
they do to Glenn Greenwald.
What do they do to Glenn Greenwald? Oh, he's on Fox all the fucking time. All the fucking time. He's a regular guest on Fox News. And he's not brought there for a contrary opinion. He's brought on to agree with Laura Ingraham.
They try to pretend that you're right wing.
He's not right wing. He just doesn't give a fuck. It's almost worse.
So anybody who actually stands up for the people
Which people would those be? Certainly not voters.
is going to be called names.
Oh no, not names. What terrible times are these? That passing ruffians can say "nee" to old ladies at will.
Discredited, called right wing. Look what they're talking. Look what they're saying about farmers and truckers in Canada.
Farmers and truckers in Canada? Jesus Christ, when was this taped? This can't. When the fuck was this? Honestly, hold on. Show more. When was this? Is there a posting date on this? Farmers, you mean the anti-vaxxers?
Look what they're saying about those people. We want you to organize. Not like that. Not like that. Don't actually do something where you actually have power. Don't actually occupy a city.
Yes, don't actually take power from people trying to get to the hospital with their pregnant fucking wife. Don't take over roads in a city you don't even live in through days-long blockades, stopping the people who actually live and vote in those areas from going about their business when you are an extreme minority. When most of what you're talking about has to do with trucking back and forth between the United States and here and not wanting to get vaccinated.
And you actually control it. Don't.
Yes. You don't get to lock up a city of which you are an extreme minority of on behalf of others because I'm here to free you. Well, get the fuck out of the way because I'm trying to get to the hospital or my fucking job.
Don't do that. We want you to organize, but in a way that we can easily dismiss and not. And so, just like when we did Medicare for All March, we had.
Yes, we. Was Jimmy at the Medicare for All March? Which one?
Medicare for All marches in every city.
Every city.
50 major cities in the United States last summer. Didn't get covered by the media.
I'm assuming. Hold on. He's talking about the July 24th, 2021. There we go. This was after the this was after the prime, like midway through the primary, after it looked like Bernie was lost. Let's see, trying to find the timing of this. It was July 27th. It was all but over. Petition against conference. Yeah, let's see. Okay, analysis. Democratic criticism about it louder and broader. This is July 6th. Oh, no, that's older. 50 major cities. Nope. July. Medicare for All March, July 2020. All right, I can't even find it in the story. So, yeah, looking at the looming crisis. 50 cities, no. Yeah, not charting.
None of the Democratic politicians show up.
None of the Democratic politicians showed up.
And half the people who say they claim to support Medicare for All in the United States did not show up.
So I would take from that they don't actually support it. He's taking that number, by the way, from the 70% support Medicare for All, when that number itself comes from the idea that people think that, like, a vast majority of the people in that one particular poll thought that Medicare for All did not outlaw private insurance. It just gave everybody could get a Medicare, or you could get private insurance, when it does not. It wipes, you can't have private insurance. It makes the government single payer, and that's that. It's different than having a government single payer program, which is 90%.
Including the nurses' unions.
So Democrat politicians didn't show up. Half of the people that supposedly support this thing didn't show up, and who else? What was the last group? Hold on, I'm on the wrong page. 1 second.
To support Medicare,
and the nurses didn't show up.
For All in the United States did not show up,
and Jimmy wasn't there either in person,
including the nurses' union. So.
Yeah, you can't fucking unions. That's the problem. Biden's all pro-union, and the unions aren't pulling their weight.
I don't think there's really a left anymore.
So we got no choice but to join Putin's army
in the United States for anyway. And if you ever do stand up against the oligarchs and unite with other workers, they will try to discredit you and squash you. And that's exactly what happens every time. When people say they want to organize, right? People always love that. It's a big buzzword in the United States around lefties. Organize, they have to organize.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea. That's not like people, when you organize things, eventually you get an establishment situation. By the way, Russell's just, the ecstasy is kicking in and it's making him thirsty.
And yeah, we did organize. We got the squad elected. We got AOC elected.
No, you didn't. She got herself elected, you lazy fuck. She knocked on doors in every door in her fucking constituency in that district. She got elected in the primary of the neighboring district because she knocked on so many fucking doors and they liked her so much. He didn't get her. Please don't badmouth unions. I'm not. He is. I'm doing that as him. He's saying fuck the unions. He's the one saying they can't be trusted by the left. They're not left for him. The unions can't be trusted as a proper source of lefties. And he didn't get AOC fucking elected.
JFL, Ro Khanna, we got all these people elected.
No, you didn't. He's not in any of those people's districts.
Cori Bush, and now they're not doing anything.
Yeah, sorry. These people suck. We got them elected. They owe us. We got 6 people elected. Why haven't they taken over the government yet?
So they keep telling you, just go back and...
What is he nodding at? The fuck are you nodding at, dumbass?
Keep organizing. And what they don't realize is when they say organize along class lines. So what is organize around? I've been in unions my whole life. I know what organize...
You're in SAG. You're not in the UAW, dumb fuck. You didn't side with the student democratic socialists in the fucking 60s.
Organizing along class lines means. And here's what it doesn't mean.
What does it do? It doesn't mean.
You don't go to the shop floor and go, who here is a libertarian? You're out. Who here is a Trumper? You're out. Who here is a Boogaloo boy? You're out.
Is that how he thinks this shit works?
Who here is a Proud Boy? You're out. Okay, now we're going to organize with who's ever left. That
Right? You have to be able to bring in the Boogaloo Boys. You're going to have to throw them a bone. Sure, they're going to want all the Jews driven out of the country. Sure, I mean, that's a small trade-off. You want Medicare for all. They want you to march with a tiki torch saying Jews will not replace us. It's a give and take. Oh, P.S. If Democrats make deals with Republicans in the House, that is a violent attack on your rights and beliefs. But if we make a partnership with the Boogaloo Boys, not even the Proud Boys, the fucking Boogaloos, the guys who were like creating like fake, working with like the same thing the Russians were doing, like creating fake alternate groups for BLM and stuff, and then picking fights.
That is not how organizing works. They know that's not how organizing.
Again, listen to what this fuckhead is saying. If the Democrats create a bipartisan infrastructure bill, or they work across the aisle to codify Roe v. Wade, or they work across the aisle to pass a gun bill, and there's a lot of concessions that need to be made, that's evil. That's centrist, evil, corporate establishment Democrats giving away the farm to the worst among us. And then this motherfucker's like, but we got to partner with the Boogaloo Boys.
Organizing works. And so when people actually do actual organizing and they connect with people on both sides of the aisle around common interests, that's the scariest thing to them.
No, it isn't. I mean, you being a voice for the Boogaloo Boys would be fucked up. I think that's negative. I would take that as wholly a negative. But I also think it would mute most of what you're saying already. So who cares? But understand what this asshole wants. He apparently thinks that AOC, Cori Bush, Rashida Tlaib, Ro Khanna, and Ilhan Omar need to form partnerships with the Charlottesville rioters, the Tiki Torch marchers, and I guess build a political class struggle together. I don't know if I was totally fucking not listening.
Thanks, you've actually answered it.
Thanks, you've actually answered it. No, he hasn't. The fuck are you talking about?
Okay.
Literally, that's literally the experience.
Yeah, he wasn't listening at all. Not at all.
When you say, forgive me for not knowing, because I'm a fan of your YouTube stuff.
Your YouTube stuff, which is what I found is the most, it's the easiest lie I can tell while I bait your viewers over to my channel.
I love what you do on your channel and how you communicate. I really do.
Yeah, it's great. You know, this is starting to sound like Trump going, fantastic job.
And I also saw it when you had Glenn Greenwald on and you stuck up for me. I appreciate that as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Again, how Trumpian can you fucking get?
I was sticking up. I was sticking up for everybody. You know, that doesn't matter. It's
everybody except Bernie Sanders, who was apparently, quote, Biden's butt boy, I think was the phrase.
About the principle, you know, I defend Alex Jones's right to freedom of speech.
You don't have to. You don't get points for that. No one's trying to take away Alex Jones's freedom of fucking speech.
I defend yours. I defend Joe Rogan's.
He doesn't have any. Russell doesn't have any. He lives in England. The English system is different from others. There is no freedom of speech.
I defend Glenn Greenwald's, Julian Assange, most importantly.
Most importantly.
And those are the people that the establishment don't want us to defend their freedom of speech. And so, and right back at you, I'm a big fan of your show. I'm very jealous of your popularity.
Ugh.
I was talking to my YouTube liaison, and I said,
excuse me? I was talking to my YouTube liaison. I'm sorry, what is it? When you clear 500,000, you get a liaison? I mean, talk about class struggles. Fucking hell. liaison. I was talking to the establishment at YouTube.
I said, hey, you know, I know we're being suppressed. Look at Russell Brand. Look at all the views he's getting. And we're talking about the same things, and he's killing it. And the guy says to me, Jimmy, Russell Brand's a huge star with millions of followers. And I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. That's right. Okay.
Thank you. Well, that at least, so that remnant and significant part of me that is still egoic really appreciates that.
That remnant and it still existed part of me that is still egoic. He enjoyed the compliment and being puffed up. I still enjoyed being told I'm huge and a star.
Jimmy, there's loads of things I want to ask you about.
Yeah, and yet none of them are meaningful.
But like, it's something you just touched upon in your response there, that it's not about any particular person. It's about a set of values and principles.
Yes, and the principle is tear down the system no matter whom it harms, because that's got to be better than having to work within the situation we're in. And apparently nobody's thought of all the solutions I've thought of over the course of their life and ever tried to implement them and seen them fail. And so therefore, these fuckers we must all be living in a flat earth surrounded by an ice circle with UN shock troops keeping us from the really good land.
This migration of principles is something that we're, the easy dismissal of a principle is something that I'm noticing again and again.
What principle would that be, dummy?
That people will say, this is what we believe in. Oh, but not in this instance. You know what?
Dude, did you just hear him turn on the squad?
When we've been doing videos, for example, around
Pfizer,
around mandates, one of the
vaccine, right?
Things I've continually said and have been careful to say, because I'm aware of the kind of restrictions that exist, or even around conversation in this area, is try to forget for a moment what the subject is. Just think about the principle of freedom and autonomy. If we put them aside at this moment, we don't know where else it may be applied, even if you agree in this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So what you're saying is the measles and polio vaccines are a mistake.
Instance with the subject, like say with the truckers, do you think this speaks to a deeper theme of a kind of cultural nihilism, that people don't have any real values, or our
Yes, something both of you know a lot about.
Media don't have any real values, or the values that they do have are so dominated by the pursuit of profit and the pre-existing relationships between government, big business, and media, that everything is a kind of posture.
Oh, you mean that pre-existing relationship that has led to the tripling of the populace on the planet over the last 55 years? I just don't know if you've noticed that since all the stuff you've been clamoring against has quote unquote been established, life has been kicking death's ass.
And nothing is real. Nothing has any sort of meat on its bones.
Oh, that's exactly right. Everyone pretends to care about the right things. That's what.
Oh, yeah, I know. And then they don't vote. And then they're like, I don't know if I feel it this time. I don't know. I know I have to take 2 steps forward, but it's just too much. I want a giant leap, or fuck it.
Virtue signaling is all about.
Virtue signaling.
Virtue signal. That's why, I have a joke in my act where I say.
I think it's just a statement. And clearly Russell is going to be judging this statement and deciding for himself whether it's a joke or not, and whether he'll be using it in Hull.
If it was 1860, the Democrats would be bragging about their first transgendered slave owner. So what they do is they're using these virtuous.
Yeah, let's break that down, shall we? First of all, it's just kind of oddly gross. Secondly, it's the dismissal of the support of trans people, or even the language or conversation about that, as totally unimportant. And beyond the fact that he doesn't think it's important to support trans people, or that social shift has any value whatsoever, which he clearly doesn't. But on top of that, the idea that it is a useless social movement, it's just posturing, but to use to cover the fact that they are, that they would have slaves in this situation. Never mind the fact that this motherfucker is defending, partnering with the Boogaloo Boys.
Signals, these things like identity politics, not to help minorities or workers or poor people. They use it to keep them stuck exactly where they are and out of.
Why would that happen? How has that affected wages since Biden took office? Or union support since Biden took office? How has that held back any of these fucking things? How did support for trans rights affect Biden's decision to extend a $15 minimum wage to all federal contractors? To do anything singularly in his power to do it, because we don't have the votes in the House and the Senate to pull it off on a grander scale because of fuckheads like this who take their ball and go home every other election.
Any kind of economic prosperity. So what they'll do is instead of
any kind of economic prosperity. So supporting trans rights is just a way of hiding from inflation because money printing is bad.
having a white guy oppress you, they'll have a black transgendered person oppress you.
Jimmy feels oppressed by a black transgender person. Now I think we all understand why he gets invited back to Tucker so often.
Or Pete Buttigieg, who's gay, oppress you. Or
how is Pete Buttigieg, which is how his name is pronounced, as oppressing you at the Department of Transportation?
Rachel Maddow feed you 5 years of unbelievable red baiting conspiracy theories.
Red baiting. Russia's not communist anymore, fuckhead.
That were evidence free.
No, they weren't.
To the point where they red baited every one of their political adversaries. So that's what, or they'll get someone.
And again, you can't red bait. If they were red baiting, it would have been about China, dummy. Russia's a gangster kleptocracy. I know you want to defend Stalinism, but that ain't the system that operates there.
Like Chris Hayes, who has a show, who's a nerd. They're like, he would never lie to you. He's a nerd. So these are the people, this is what they use to keep everybody where they are. And
yes, it's the Chris Hayes industrial complex that keeps me down. I just don't have the strength to try and fight for the things I believe. That's why I've lost the will to do the one thing that will actually affect the vote.
And to keep people out of economic progress.
To keep people out of economic progress. That's what they're saying. Again, jobs went up 380,000. Biden's cut the deficit in half, unemployment in half. There are more people out of the workforce because they can afford to be than in the last 35 years. And wages have gone up 5.1%, even in face of transitory CPI rise, which is not monetary inflation caused by money printing. It's actually caused by supply shock. And it will be year over year transitory next year, more than likely in the spring. The recession, if we have one, will be short-lived. But Biden shepherding those things through while at the same time diversifying the judiciary, putting a black woman on the SCOTUS, helping, and the decisions that the people that he's offered up on all these judiciaries would be making would be in support of all the things that allegedly Jimmy believes in. However, he, like those elusive Medicare for All supporters last year, will not be showing up to the march at the polls.
They use identity politics, and we're living.
Because Jimmy doesn't think women's rights and gay rights and trans rights and even labor rights that are tied to identity, being that black people and Hispanic people are, have specific economic needs that are different than whites and Asians, for example, in the United States. That's not important.
In it right now. I mean, you don't.
Nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about, dude.
That means virtue signaling means
signaling
way more than substance. I just saw Nancy Pelosi has she's running for re-election, and you know why she's doing it? She's not doing it because she's a megalomaniac narcissist who can't let go of power. And
I'm sure both of you are ready to just give up your channels and run for office, or simply sit back and just be a good, solid member of the community.
privilege or and insider trading, by the way. No, she's doing it for the kids. She's doing it for the kids, Russell. And if there's no one who cares more about kids than 81-year-old millionaires.
For the record, both of you are millionaires. You're just not as old as her. Both those guys are millionaires.
I happen to know that she cares mostly about her kids. Her and her husband's kids are Apple and Facebook.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha. We've seen this one before, but I thought I'd bring it back. There he is. 81 million, according to Forbes 2022. Salary and assets from he owns an Audi QT, a Tesla Model X, and a Range Rover Sport. About $4 million a year. And look at his main stocks. These are brand assets and investments. Alphabet Incorporated, AT&T, Ford, Costco, and FedEx. These are the primary big investments that he's got. And he has a 9,400 square foot home located in Grays, Essex. That's probably the one we're looking at. Brand has bought his property for an estimated price tag of $13 million. 6 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms. You can shit more than you sleep. It's something that we in the working classes totally understand.
And Slack.
What did you think about that video?
I thought it was kind of ironic that you ended making fun of her for having stock in Apple and Google when she lives in San Francisco and you live in England and have the same thing. I also didn't know what the fuck Jimmy was talking about, other than trying to excuse himself for partnering with Boogaloo Boys and maggots. Because what do they share? The common ground. What's that common ground? Hatred of their own government while they take advantage of all the services and circumstances that are created by them. By the way, again, this is one of those situations where, like I've said before, burning the American flag makes it actually more valuable because it shows that it does represent the freedoms, including the freedom to burn the flag. Whereas if you try to take away the freedom to burn the flag, you lessen the value of the flag itself. Same thing is true of the United States. This is, in many ways, this conversation between these two assholes is actually proof that the American experiment works and that it has value and that you can trust it to allow a wide breadth of conversation, because this asshole does nothing but attack the country that allows him to do it, and this asshole is able to do it from overseas and is not going to be barred from coming over here at any time to work or do anything else. Try that shit in Russia or China, for that matter. They're not going to. Neither one of them speaks another language besides English.我追的就是他们是笨蛋. So, I would just like to say for the record that the existence of these two pricks actually supports the argument that the United States is a valuable place in the world. It's ironic, isn't it? Anyways, I thought we'd clear that one out. The whole Alex Jones one is like 15 minutes long, right? I dove into more of it, but I gotta go eat something. You guys are wonderful. Thanks for sticking around. I will see you guys tomorrow on the afternoon show. Like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. This is Hal Sparks, Mega Worldwide. I do these videos long form when they put them up. I won't interrupt or edit, but I will stop them if they just become intolerably shitty. So, or I run out of time. But you guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for being here with me. And don't forget to subscribe to the show or tell people to subscribe to the show. On Wednesday morning, when Philip's joining with us, anybody who's in the Steph chat or whatever, after they're done, if you don't mind, let them know we're online and send them over to infotainmentwars.com straight from there or wherever they're watching from. I don't think they watch on Twitch, but if you're on Twitch and you want to jump ship or anybody else has an account on there, that'd be lovely. So, and we'll, hopefully try and do that on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because I come on right after her. So anyway, you guys are fantastic. I will see you later. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And remember, vote.org. Tag the hell out of that stuff, because the only solution to this is a blue tsunami. A regular, consistent blue tsunami is the only thing that will strike fear into the hearts of the Republicans. The backbiting hyper lefties who are patting themselves on the back for subterfuge are never going to put pressure on the very people that will have to change to do anything about this. Never. So take care of yourself, take care of somebody else, and I'll see you tomorrow.